Hi, my name is Mark Gu, and I am from the Office of Career Services. We help students with resumes, cover letters, mock interviews. Today I'm here to talk to you guys about social media and creating a positive social media presence. So really, employers have made social media a big priority, and they've put a lot of emphasis on doing the background check for candidates at the beginning of the job search. So around 60 to 70% of employers are doing some type of social media background research beforehand, whether that's taking a look at your Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn accounts. They just wanted to see what how you're portraying yourself online first. And so it's really important that you clean up your digital dirt and make sure that your profile is professional. So do different searches. Try your first name, last name, and the city that you are living in or have resided in the past, just to see some of the different results that pop up. And also use different search platforms. So not just Google, but use Bing, use Yahoo, because some employers might use one over the other, and you just want to make sure that you check all of the major ones to make sure that everything is in alignment. And so, in addition to that, if you do a search and you don't find anything in your name, that can also might be an issue for an employer. It might not be a deal breaker, but say if you're looking for like a marketing position or a social media position, then the employer is going to expect you to have a very strong social media presence. They should be able to find your Facebook, your Instagram, your Pinterest accounts, so they can see what are some of the work that you're doing. So that, in essence, turns out to be your portfolio for that employer. And so depending on the position that you're applying for, your social media presence, if you don't have one, it could end up hurting you as well. So making sure that you go on there and you're portraying yourself in a positive light. So what do you do if you do find things that are not so good or don't represent you in the best light? The best thing is to go in and change your profile settings. Making sure that you delete any inappropriate pictures, posts, things that you may not think is relevant. For example, if you made a comment about a political message or a political campaign, if you're interviewing for a hiring manager who may have a different opinion, you never want that to affect your candidacy for that position. So make sure that you just be very neutral in the things that you're liking, that you're commenting on, because you never know who is going to come across it. For those pictures that maybe you have not put up, but maybe it's you've been tagged in them, you can ask the user to remove you from those. If you are unable to get them to remove you, you can always contact the administrators on Facebook, on Pinterest, to remove them for you. So they'll be able to remove you and untag you from those, so that when somebody searches for you, those pictures don't pop up. Also, just change your privacy settings. If you really want to keep a separate personal Facebook account, make sure you change your profile settings so that only your friends, only people that you've approved can view the things that you are posting on there and saying. So that way you eliminate the possibility of a stranger coming across things that you don't want them to see. And if you really find something that either you can't take down or can't get rid of, the best thing that you can do is to create additional content to move that towards the bottom of the search. So over half of the time, the person doing the search is not going to go beyond that first page. So on that Google results list, if your results don't show up on that first page, they're not likely to go into that second or third page. So if you have some bad content that you want to get rid of, the best way is to create new content. Maybe it's creating a new blog, maybe it's creating some new online profiles, and then creating more traffic in them so that it pushes the bad results down further on the search results. So then only the newer, the most recent ones, and the ones that you've been working on show up first. So those are some of the things that you can kind of do to help you create a stronger and better social media presence. And yeah, again, so you want to make sure that everything that you're working on portrays a consistent message. I know, some of you may have Facebook for a number of years. Maybe you've joined since they started, and there's just too much information for you to comb through. Perhaps it's just changing your privacy settings so that only your friends can view them, or it's creating new blogs or new accounts to make sure that you're using that for your professional face. So, any questions on this so far? All right, so next we're going to go into LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is probably one of the most utilized professional networking sites. Most third-party recruiters and staffing agencies use LinkedIn to source candidates. So if ever you get a phone call out of the blue and it's a recruiter, trying to recruit you for a position, they probably came across your LinkedIn profile, found your contact information, and thought that you might be a good fit for a position that they were recruiting for. One of the great things about LinkedIn is that you can kind of have an online resume, and it can be public if you want it to be. So it'll have all of the different pieces on there. The first thing you do if you have a LinkedIn is you want to customize your URL. When you first create your LinkedIn account, they're going to give you a standard LinkedIn URL, most likely a combination of letters and numbers. You can customize that and change that. So the standard is going to be a combination of your first name and last name, or last name and first name. Just so that it's easier to put that link on your resume. It's easy for you to send that link out to an employer or to somebody else who might want to view your profile. And it's a little bit more memorable for them than a series of letters and numbers. And then you want to go in and fill out your profile. You want to make sure to complete as much as you can. That means uploading a professional picture, making sure that you write a little bit about some of your work experience, the previous jobs that you've had. So the first section, they're going to allow you an opportunity to kind of give a brief introduction on what you're looking for or who you are about. So this is a great opportunity to give a little bit more background history. Again, you want to try to stick with more of your professional self, so you can skip some of the personal information that you may not want to share. The next is going to be your experience. So taking a look at what are some of the previous jobs that you've held, what are some of your current duties that you are working on in your current role, and then volunteer work, some of the extracurricular activities that you do. So very similar to like a resume, it's going to have all of those components. If you volunteer at Opportunity Village every year, and that's something that you want to put down. If you join a specific membership or group that is relevant in your industry, that's also something that you want to include. The really great thing about LinkedIn is you can get endorsements for your skills. So on your resume, most people have a skills section, and they list the skills that they are proficient in. LinkedIn take this one step further. It allows your network to endorse you for those skills. So it's one thing when you say you possess X, Y, and Z skills. It's another when you have 20 people endorse you for those skills. So it's just stronger and makes the employer believe that more than if you list it on your resume as a list of skills that you may possess. So that's one of the great things. So always encourage your network to endorse you for certain skills that you possess. And the great way to do that is to endorse them back. Give them endorsements on skills that either you've worked on them on a project and you can vouch for their skills and abilities, And that way, when they see that endorsement, they're more likely to also endorse you for your skills. You can also have recommendations on LinkedIn. So your previous supervisors, co-workers, they can go on LinkedIn and write a quick recommendation. So, instead of a standard, one-page letter that employers may write for you at the end of your employment, you can get this, pretty regularly. So if you just finish a project, ask your coworker, hey, can you write a quick recommendation for me on LinkedIn? It doesn't have to be long. It can be, a short paragraph. That's the beauty of LinkedIn, is that the more recommendations you have, even if they're really short, it only adds to your value and makes your profile stand out more. Because it's not you saying that you have these abilities. It's, 5 or 10 people that's vouching for you. So that's really the first step, is to begin to build your profile. You really want to make sure that you have a comprehensive profile before you start being a little bit more active on LinkedIn and using that as a platform for your job search. I believe the statistics are, if you upload a picture, you're about 300 to 400 times more likely to have somebody click into your profile. So, the first step is to make sure that you complete your profile and make sure that you, write in every single section that they have. And then the next part is to develop your professional network on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn utilizes different degrees of connections. That's kind of their term. But this also becomes your available network and your ability to search. So on LinkedIn, your connections are going to be your first degree. They're people that you are connected with, friends, coworkers. They're going to be your first degree. Your second degree are going to be individuals that you're not connected with, but are connected with your connections. So kind of like a friend of a friend. And then a third degree connection is really just the next extension after that. So the friend of a friend of a friend. LinkedIn limits your ability to search to your third degree connections only. It's going to help you if you build out your network. Make sure that you connect with people within your industry. Make sure you connect with past coworkers, colleagues, your classmates here at UNLV, because later on that's going to expand and allow you to build on your ability to use LinkedIn. So think of LinkedIn as more of a long-term career resource. The more you build and cultivate that, the stronger and easier it is going to be for you when you are looking for jobs later on down the road. It may help you right now, or it may not, but you really want to cultivate that tool so that it can become more stronger later on. LinkedIn also has a number of different groups that you can join. So there's a UNLV alumni group out there. There's, I checked on Wednesday, about almost 7,100 members on that group. If you can't find groups within your industry or things that you're interested in, you can always start a group of your own. But in LinkedIn, there's almost groups for everything. So there's a group for Las Vegas tech employees. There's a group for marketing professionals. There's a group for researchers. Almost any field or industry that you might be interested in, there probably is already a group there. So you want to join those groups, especially the local ones, because that's going to give you an insight to who are the individuals that you may come across later on. And again, it's about building those network and establishing those relationships early on, because you may not need them now, but they might come to be of use later on in the future. So yeah, join as many groups as you can. If you're a part of the military, there's a lot of groups that also support them. If you are interested in certain hobbies and interests, there's going to be numerous groups that support those as well. The next part is to find some companies and follow them. There are, hundreds and thousands of companies on LinkedIn. A lot of them are managed by their human resources group. So a lot of their postings are going to be human resources related, and so there are going to be new job opportunities at those companies, or maybe it's a cultural initiative that they have, different social events. It's good to kind of just get a feel for what are some of the different events or things that that company is planning. Also to stay up to date on some of the news that might come up. So if there's, you know, maybe one or two big players in your industry, you want to go in and follow them. You want to see, you know, what are they doing? What are the new jobs that they're hiring for? What are some of the requirements for that? And that way you can be more prepared for when you do find a position that you want to apply for, or when you are ready to apply for a position in that company. And step 3, so how to find job opportunities on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has a job search board, so just like your Monsters, your Career Builder, they have their own job search board. It's pretty new. You know, within 5 years, they've really built that up. What they do is they find and link jobs to the company's website. So if you do find a job on LinkedIn and you want to apply, it will always take you to that company's website for you to fill out their application and to go through that process. But you can go and find different jobs. You can search by industry, you can search by location, position. It's very robust, as you would imagine a tool like that would be. And again, you know, when you do find a job on LinkedIn that you're interested in applying, first, you know, follow the company. It shows that you're interested in them and that you're staying up to date on some of the news or trends that is happening in their industry and with that company. The next part is finding people, and this is really where LinkedIn kind of sets itself apart from competitors, is that LinkedIn currently is the only platform that allows you to find individuals. I will take you through this functionality after this presentation to kind of show you how to do that and really what the power of that function is. But it gets you connected to a hiring manager. It can get you connected to somebody that's going to have more power over the recruiting process, so that you can contact them either through LinkedIn, or if you find their email and phone number, you can give them a call directly. You can also send them your resume. It is a way to kind of bypass the HR functions, but it is almost more likely to benefit you and help you if you are able to target that a little bit better. And again, this can also help you with your networking. If you're new to the industry and you have questions or you don't know who to ask or who to find, this function allows you to find individuals that you can talk to. And then just a quick snapshot of the job market that LinkedIn has. So again, on Wednesday I took a look. There are about almost 22,000 jobs on LinkedIn that are posted. So most of them in Las Vegas are in the hospital and healthcare industry, followed by retail and hospitality. So those three make up almost half of all of the jobs that are available. In terms of experience, more than half of them are entry level, but there's a good chunk for mid to senior level. So there's a variety of different positions that's on LinkedIn, from entry level all the way to senior level positions. And it's a very robust search tool. If you are looking for a job, I would definitely recommend to use LinkedIn, as it's going to be more reputable than like your Monsters or Career Builder. So, any questions on the presentation so far? I'll go into my LinkedIn and kind of walk you guys through, but any questions so far? Yes?
What advice would you have about obtaining a professional photo?
I would say, you know, if you don't necessarily need it, you can just have you can take a professional photo yourself. If you have somebody else kind of just take a picture of you, find a neutral background, make sure that you dress up, you know, accordingly. And then if you take a look at most of the photos or most of the profiles on LinkedIn, you'll kind of see a pattern of what that looks like. There may be a couple of individuals that, you know, opt for the more professional route. Maybe they paid for their photo services. but it's definitely not necessary. But if you do, it'll help. We do in career services do have some of those opportunities throughout the academic year. We have Anson, which is a nonprofit who, when they do come down, they will provide free LinkedIn headshots for our students. So if you ever do see some of those opportunities, follow us on Facebook. We'll post those out. That's a great time to come by and get a professional headshot for your LinkedIn free of charge. Any other questions? Yes.
I have a question. I'm teaching a Journalism 100 class, which is full of a bunch of younger millennials, and they haven't really experienced life before social media. How would you kind of give them some advice, or what can I take back to them to kind of motivate them to clean up their sites or to build sites that are clean? Sure.
I think, a lot of that is kind of sharing some of the current news and trends that are coming on in the market. So, there are a lot of articles, and I think it was just recently that, there's people that have lost their jobs because of a social media post. So, I believe it was during the NBA Finals, the Cavaliers versus the Golden State Warriors, and somebody who was a Cavaliers fan tweeted something inappropriate about Stephen Curry's wife, and his post got him fired the next day. So that's something that I think is powerful to share with your students, to show that this is happening in the real world, and the things that you post on your social media, while it may be your personal account, it's going to affect you professionally. Because when you do work for an employer, you're representing their brand, even in your personal life. So anything that you do or say that may affect their clients or their relationships professionally, they're not going to take that lightly. And so I would, if you find those examples or those articles, kind of just share that with your students. I think, for millennials, that's an easier way for them to engage and to kind of understand the importance of making sure that they clean up their content.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Yes.
I just said any recommendations, and if it's something better addressed one-on-one. But I am one of those people who has different lives that I'm leading. So I own a service-related business. I'm here in education, and then I also write in the entertainment industry. And just trying to pull all of that together to one cohesive profile. I feel like people look at me, I'm doing all these different things.
I know I know that can certainly be challenging. So yeah, we can certainly make a one-on-one appointment after, but okay. My initial advice would be, it depends on what you're looking for in the near future. So if there's one industry or one direction that you really are truly gravitating towards, and maybe the others are things that you would be interested in, but it may not be your main passion, then I would say build your profile on that one thing, making sure that you take your experiences in those different areas and highlight the skills and projects that you've done that are going to be related to what you're looking for next. So kind of think about your future as the end goal, and then making sure your profile matches and aligns. And when an employer looks at your profile, they can kind of follow the roadmap to where you want to go.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any suggestions or advice for those who, I don't know if anyone gets requests to connect with someone, say on LinkedIn, and you don't know who that person is? Any sort of thoughts on how to think of that? Because my first instinct is wondering if it's a cyber stalker, or if I'm going to download some spam or something. And I never respond until I Google that person, given that fear.
If they send you a request and you don't know who they are, click in and see where have they worked in the past, what things that they're doing that could be related to you. If it's completely unrelated, or somebody that you never know or never met before, and you just feel a little bit fishy or awkward, it's okay to decline that invitation. Or you can always reply back and say, hey, what is the purpose of the connection? Or, I would like to connect with you, but I, have never met you. Could you maybe provide a brief introduction and kind of just build a little bit of conversation in there and see what are they trying to get out of this connection, or what is the purpose. I have also, been in that situation in the where it's a person that solicits services that you may not want, and if that happens and you connected with them, you can always in the Facebook term, like, unfriend them. You can disconnect and kind of even after you've connected. So that's one way. If you want to take a more more friendly approach, you can always accept. And then if they are sending you messages or soliciting services that you don't want, you can always unfriend them, and then you'll know in the future what are some of those things that to look out for. So there are those individuals or companies out there that are maybe are trying to scam users, or they're looking for information from you. So yeah, just be mindful, be careful. Sometimes it's just common sense. Don't provide any personal information. If they're asking you for like business opportunities, or they want you to invest money and you've never met with them before, that's probably a red flag. So just some common sense in that regard, and that's kind of through all the different social media platforms. Any other questions? Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I'm just thinking because I know someone, because I'm from engineering.
Mm-hmm.
My friend, maybe sometimes they're from art or some other not engineering like major.
Okay.
So what's your suggestion to make friends with them? I mean, they think or not? Because if I want to build up my profile more professionally, probably, I don't know, people suggest me not to. But if you say it will brought your searching the engine system,
Mm-hmm.
I probably should. So what's your advice for that?
So I would say for the individuals that definitely connect with them. With the way that technology is developing, and with the world changing so much so quickly, there's going to be a lot of overlap within a lot of industries. So as an engineer, the software development is going to play a part in almost every single industry. Whether it's you in the end developing an application for somebody in like an art museum, or if you're developing content for a school or university, or working in the private sector, working for energy companies, those type of connections may not be easily seen right now, but it could potentially overlap in the future. So I would say, the friends that you make here at UNLV, or the friends that you've had in the past, certainly connect with them. One, you always want to stay updated and see what your friends are doing. Maybe you haven't seen somebody for 5, 10, 20 years and you just want to reconnect with them. Connecting with them gives you the opportunity to stay in contact, and so then it'll be easier for you to find them if you need to. And also, yes, definitely the search option. The more people you connect with, the bigger and broader your search range becomes. That'll help you later on down the road. And so, a lot of times, if you know somebody, I would say connect with them. If you don't know them, kind of just do a little bit of investigation. But try not to be too stuck on we're in different industries, we're probably never going to meet. That may not be true. Maybe they're going to change industries later on, and maybe they switch to engineering, or a project takes you down to their path, and you cross paths that way. You never know what the different changes are going to occur later on, so it's always good to kind of keep an open mind with regards to those. Yes.
So you can pay for LinkedIn. Are there advantages to that? Do you recommend it, or can you do everything with just free?
So the premium membership on LinkedIn gives you unlimited access to a lot of things that you can do. When you pay for a LinkedIn account, like the searching abilities, you're no longer limited. So you have the whole LinkedIn universe that you can search. So when I was talking earlier about you can only search within your third-degree connections, if you pay for a premium membership, that goes away. You can search anybody on LinkedIn. You can also, with a premium account, see anybody who has seen your profile or clicked into your profile. So you're able to track, who has looked at your profile in the past. And so it just gives you a little bit more broader services. You can send unlimited messages within LinkedIn, whereas in a basic account you can't. You can only respond to messages from premium account members. So there are some certain features that LinkedIn holds back for the free membership. It definitely depends on what you're trying to do with LinkedIn. So if you're active in job searching and you're looking for a job, I would say it would be a good investment to perhaps get a premium account. If you're working in recruiting, staffing, a premium account is almost a must, but most likely your employer will pay that for you. Same thing in marketing. It's probably going to be very helpful to have premium accounts, and that's something that the company most likely will pay for. Outside of that, your basic account can and should be adequate to do most of the things that you are looking for. But with that being said, you can always keep a track for when LinkedIn does promotions. Sometimes they'll have student promotions where it's like half off, or maybe they give you a free year. So be on the lookout for some of those promotions and take advantage of those. Any other questions? Okay, so this is what LinkedIn looks like when you log in. You can go in and under profile. So down here is the LinkedIn URL that I was talking about. You can go here and click this edit icon. That'll allow you to edit your LinkedIn URL. So here where, when you first sign up, you'll get a series of letters and numbers. I always encourage you, the first thing you do is change your URL. Combination, first name, last name, you can add a couple of numbers in there, but that way it's easier for somebody to find you and it's a more customized URL for you. And then next thing, you can fill out your summary and then your experiences here. You can put some of the different positions that you've worked on, any volunteer experiences that you want to put, skills that you have, and then your education experiences on the bottom. So very similar like a resume. And that's why LinkedIn is going to function pretty much like an online resume for you. And once you have that, so one of the things that I was talking about is searching for people. So this is especially helpful if you're looking for an industry or jobs in a city that are harder to find. So in Las Vegas, obviously hospitality, retail, they're jobs that are pretty plentiful. However, if you're a psychologist, where do you go? Or if you're a social worker, where do you go besides the state? And so you can look for different individuals. So let's go ahead and type in psychologist. Here, you want to click on people. And now you can see the results are going to give you individuals who, under their current title, has psychologist in there. So Tiger is a clinical psychologist. Jennifer is a licensed psychologist. Not only does it tell you what their current job is, it also tells you where they are working. So Tiger is the owner at Tiger, so it looks like he has his own practice. Jennifer is working on-site clinical supervisor at, so when you click in, you'll see the name. Jessica is a psychologist at Browning Psychological Services, so it looks like her own practice. So this will also help you in your job search. So it'll give you a list of individuals you can contact, but also a list of companies that you can look at. And you know, you can see if you're looking to be a psychologist, you know, it looks like there's probably a little bit more opportunity to build out your own private practice. But there might be some other additional options. What's really cool is that if you're more specialized in psychology, so you know, if you want to go down the clinical route, or let's say you want to specialize in pediatrics, you can find that in here. And you can click into the person's profile. If you can see, you know, where are they currently working, what are they doing, and also down here, their education. You can see, you know, if you're interested in going down the pediatrics route, do you need a doctor's in psychology? Do you need advanced degree? You can see that, you know, this person has their master's in clinical psychology and then a doctor's also in clinical psychology. So, you know, the more profiles you can see, you can kind of make a pattern of, okay, it looks like if I want to go down this route, I need to probably get my doctorate's degree. Or, you know, if I want to go down this other route, it looks like I only need a master's. So it also helps you plan out, you know, in terms of your degree, your licensing, what are some of those requirements that you need. And it's helpful for you to take a look at the different profiles. You know, if you have 5 or 10 minutes, maybe we can talk on the phone really quickly to get a sense for, you know, some advice that you can give me, or what are some of the things that maybe I should look out for. It's, again, you know, really easy to send out that message, and most people, when they hear that you're a student at UNLV, they're likely to help out more because they understand what it's like to be a student and how hard it was for them to get into that field. And so, you know, kind of use that as your leverage to get connected. And again, think of it as building your network. It may not pan out to give you anything immediately, but maybe in 5-10 years, you know, you'll find that maybe Rachel is the manager or the director at a place and you're applying for a job there. And since you're already connected on LinkedIn, you know, you send a quick message to Rachel and say, hey, I saw you guys are hiring for this position, you know, can we sit down and talk about what you're looking for, you know, how I can, you know, more information about this job. So it's about cultivating your relationships and building those networks so that you can use them in the future to help you with their job search. And so that's really the most powerful tool on LinkedIn, is to get connected with people that you otherwise would never know and would never come across. So it's really helpful for those of you that are in, you know, the industries that are not so prominent in a certain town. If you guys, you know, want to stay in Las Vegas or decide to move to a different city later on, this will give you almost instant access to who are the major players, or you know, what are some of the things that you should look out for in that position. Any questions so far? No? Okay, so that's all I have for today. I'll be up here for a little bit while. If you guys still have any questions, you can feel free to come up and ask me.
So,
Yes.
well, first I'll say, since a great presentation, thank you for taking the time to join us today. So thank you, Ms.
pleasure.
Really appreciate this. So saying all that, are there any other things you would want our grad and professional students here at UNLV to be aware of that career services offer that maybe they wouldn't have thought of? That resources that are available, career services that may be of use to them?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I mentioned, we have the standard resume, cover letter, mock interview reviews. We also have our graduate and professional school fair on September 28th. So for those of you that perhaps are looking at another degree or looking for PhD options, we're going to have schools from all across the nation come on the 28th. And it's going to be in the Alumni Walk, so right outside the PITA Plaza by the Student Union. Take a look at some of the different, you know, master's and doctor's program that's going to be here, and if you're interested in furthering your education, that would be one place to go. And then on October 26th, we're going to have the fall job fair. So for those of you that are looking for work after graduation or just looking for part-time work, come by and take a look at the different companies. We currently have about 60 or so registered, but we're anticipating it to be at about 130. So we'll have a lot of a variety of different employers in town. But yeah, anything career related, kind of think of career services as the destination that's going to help you after you graduate. Whether that's graduate school, whether that's finding a full-time job, part-time job, let us help you with that transition out of college. So come to us if you need any career advice, any counseling services. We'll be able to help you with that as well.
I have a question about LinkedIn. So they have an option where you can make your profile private, and I probably already know the answer to this, but if you're actively seeking a job, should you make your LinkedIn public so that anyone can see it?
I would say even if you're not actively searching, you should make your profile public. So LinkedIn, unlike Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, it's going to be more professional based. And so the things you're writing on there, is going to be more professionalized. And so you shouldn't be afraid to publicize any of that information. If you are concerned, I would say, you probably shouldn't put it on your LinkedIn in the first place. Because LinkedIn, you really want to capture as much connections as you possibly can that's going to benefit you. And so keeping your profile public is going to allow other individuals who come across your profile, who find an interest, who want to get connected with you. So I would say almost always you want to keep it public.
Okay, so just one last note. Thanks again for joining us today.